So, hello today from the Armchair Trader. Welcome to the Armchair Trader podcast. Today we have with us Simon Campbell from IX Trader and Paddy Osborn from the London Academy of Trading. And we will have the opportunity to talk about the IX investment show. And we will have an opportunity to talk about trader education. Simon, do you want to tell us a little bit about your upcoming investor show?
Yes, so the IX Investor and Trader Show is a one-day in-person event taking place on the 25th of November in London this year. It's not the first in-person event we've done. We've been doing these things for 10 plus years. But it is one of the first few shows that we've had since the pandemic. So it's a great opportunity for people to get face-to-face again with all the trading educators and the investment commentators. And really, it's a one-day event for members of the public to attend and learn how they go about starting to take control of their own finances, take control of their own investments and trading. So if you don't know anything about trading or investing, but you see all the news and the pound going up and going down, and you hear about people making money, this is the place to come and learn exactly how they're doing it. We don't assume anybody's got any knowledge at all. So there's a mix of beginners, there's people that have been trading for some years, but what you will see are a lot of people providing you with seminars and education, and you can enjoy that all on the day. So we'd also do a lot of webinars. We output a lot of the content on webinars as well. So if you can't make it to London, if you go to the website, you can access all the live webinars as well there. So it's a great show. We're really delighted that we've got London Academy of Trading on board as the gold sponsors for the event this year, because they really are the leading provider of quality education in this marketplace. So anybody that's gone onto the internet will know everybody's trying to teach you how to trade, but not all of them are as good as the others or as good as they claim to be. But we are really working with the best here, and as Paddy will obviously be able to tell us a little bit more, it's a hybrid training that they offer, which I think is fantastic, being able to just get face to face as well as online. So really, really good to have you here. And obviously, the Armchair Trader are going to be at the show as well.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. Which brings me to the question of who do you think should attend the investor show?
It's anybody. You can be a nurse, you can be a bus driver, you can be someone that works in the city already. It's incredible the range of people that we have to the event, because the underlying goal of the event is for people to come and learn how they can grow their money. They've got, whether it might just be a few £100 a month, or they want to start with a trading account, the 10,000, but it really doesn't matter. The same principles apply in terms of understanding what it is you want to achieve through investing and trading, understanding what sort of risk you want to take, and then being able to select the right strategy, whether that may be short-term trading or putting together a long-term portfolio. We'll look at all these on the day. There is a slant towards the trading, I must say, because it's where we've done a lot of work in webinars. It's very popular. People wanting to earn that extra income, even if it's just maybe another couple of £100 a day. It's incredibly not easy, but if you have the right education, it's very possible for people to have that extra income coming in without having to sit in front of screens all day long.
This brings me on to a question for Paddy. Obviously, the situation in the markets can be quite unnerving at present. A lot of markets are going down. All the maybe straightforward investments suddenly don't look so straightforward, and bonds not as stable as they used to be. A lot of people who have experience are sitting on the sidelines of the market. What's your view at present? Is it a good thing to be in the market, or is it better to sit it out? Or are people missing out opportunities by sitting out?
There are always opportunities. So for the first statement I would say there is sitting it out maybe good for some people, maybe longer term investors who don't like these bear markets we're in at the moment. But also with these markets at the moment, we see volatility, and volatility brings potential for profit. particularly from the short term. So Simon mentioned there the difference between investor and trader show, and the focus is slightly more on traders because that's the shorter end of the time frame. So this could be a few minutes or a few hours or possibly a few days or weeks, as opposed to investing for longer term over months, years, or even decades. So for investors, yes, there's a certain temptation to go, my investments are down 20% this year or 10% or whatever. I want to sort of get out and sit on the sidelines. Most financial advisors would advise to stick with it, particularly if you're on a sort of saving plan where you're putting in 100 or 200 a month or whatever it might be, because as the markets go down, and you're buying in at a cheaper level as well. So that's a good way of sort of averaging down your investments. In terms of trading, I would say there is never a bad time to be trading because you can make money from falling markets as well as rising markets. You can go short. So basically that means selling it now. If it goes down, you buy it back cheaper and you make money. So all you need as a trader is volatility, and that could be over a very short period of time, a few minutes after some big news, or it could be longer term after, over a week or two, based on some longer term fundamentals or whatever it might be. But volatility is all we want. We've got plenty of it. So I think now is a good time, as good a time as any to be in the market.
You certainly have plenty of volatility, but if you're new to the market, how do you get started? And how do you make sure that you don't burn your fingers in this market?
Well, I think with anything, before you do anything in life, you've got to learn how to do it. So, you've got to learn. So that's it. You get education. Now it's up to you. There are lots of very good free resources. There's YouTube videos all over the place. There's also books and various other resources that you can go and get. But at the end of the day, I think trading is quite a tricky thing. It's very psychological. It's very emotional. There's certain technicalities to it. There's understanding fundamentals and how they affect financial markets and all this together. And then you've got the risk management over the top. So what we provide at the London Academy of Trading is tutors to bounce ideas off, to say, look, I just learned about this thing here. I've just done this trade. Have I sort of got it right? Am I on the right track? And so, our tutors are available 10 hours every day for people to ask questions, any question, anytime. So, this is, I think, an absolutely vital difference. Rather than going YouTube, you might not pick it up properly, and you end up doing, building bad habits because you haven't understood exactly what you think you might have learned. You might have not quite understood it, and you'll never have anyone to tell you that you got it wrong. So I think that's the big thing. It's education, and some tutoring.
So if you're getting educated, what is the most important point, or where should you start?
Indeed. Before I do that, Simon had a point there. Was going to add to my previous point, possibly?
No, I was just going to come in on what you were saying is education, and this is one of the surprising things that came out of the survey that we did from the last event in London, the last IX show in April. We asked people their reasons for attending, and one of the most popular results was there was an opportunity for them to sort of rub shoulders with other people in exactly the same boat as themselves. So they wanted to meet, and they enjoyed sitting having a coffee, and all of a sudden they got into conversation with someone beside them who was saying, yes, I've heard about this trading thing and I just wanted to come find out how it works. These are the things that I think we have. This is where we have an edge in it being an in-person event over a webinar event, and people liked the sort of the social side of the event, and very much hearing other people's story helps them incredibly as well. So that's what happened at the show. You'll come in, you'll meet all the instructors from the London Academy of Trading. You meet a lot of the other speakers and educators there, but you also meet all the other people. There's probably going to be, in total, we're thinking about probably about 500 people attend these events.
Yeah, I think the audience in this event is very similar to the audience that we have, and the students that we have that come in on a monthly basis. We have monthly intakes basically every 5 weeks, and so it's quite a regular intake of students. And the profile of these people is very similar to, I think, the people who've been at the show. 50% have never traded or have very little knowledge or experience. The other 50% have traded a little bit or maybe even a fair bit. Age range is from 18 to 65. With average age around 37, which I think is broadly similar as well. So it really is a very similar audience that we have the show and our ongoing students that we have throughout the thing. But to answer your question, basically what you need to understand is fundamental analysis. So basically what I mean by fundamental analysis is news, politics, macroeconomic data, the things that move the markets. Basically news moves the markets, charts plot what the markets have done and show you where the market's gone. And then you've got to understand your risk management and psychology. But at the end of the day, fundamental analysis is the key thing to understand. If a piece of news comes out, what is the expected move in which market? So is it going to be the pound going up or down, like we've seen recently with that rather disastrous mini budget, and the market hated it and the pound collapsed? It's recovered back above 110, and it's sort of against the dollar now, and it's sitting just above 110 today, which is much better than the 103 that it hit very briefly. And I don't personally think it's going to hit parity, but people are talking about it, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. So there's that sort of fundamental. So the economic calendars, these are free resources, and you can get all the news. You can get interest rates, inflation, employment data. These are the things that move the markets, not just currencies. We don't just talk about currencies at all. We talk about all different markets, equity markets, bond markets, which are in vogue a little bit at the moment, but also commodities, gold, oil, which again has been very volatile over the last year. So yeah, basically fundamentals is the first thing to understand what's going on in the world and how things work. Technical analysis is absolutely vital, and most students or most traders that come through the academy, they will really focus vast amount, 90% of their attention on charts and technical analysis to try to analyze the market, what's going on. Understanding psychology is the next thing. So you've got to be able to control emotions. And the way to do that is to have a structured and robust plan. So one of our the talk I'm going to be giving actually at the investor show is the importance of a structured trade plan. And I'm going to go through step by step, a trade that I will have done before the event, sometime probably the week before, and I'll go through step by step what has happened throughout that, the evolution of that trade, how I've set it up, how I've triggered the trade, how I executed the trade, when I executed it, why I executed it at whatever level, and then how I managed the trade all the way through to hopefully some sort of positive conclusion. So if you have that structure and it's based on a sort of mathematical thing like charts and numbers and lines and levels and whatever, then you don't need to worry about the emotions of buying and selling and whatever else. It's simply you're following your set of rules, and you set your rules, you follow your rules. I don't have any emotion when I buy or sell or do any trade because I just follow the rules. If it goes right, then great. If it goes wrong, I'm managing my risk so I don't lose too much. And it's as simple as that. So structured trade plan is really the vital thing. And it's all very well saying have a structured trade plan, but you've got to know how you can build one and what tools you use and whether you use stochastics or support resistance trends, patterns, Fibonacci, anything like this, any technical things. It could be based off news, it could be based off technicals. Most people base it off technicals because it's quite, as I say, mathematical. So that's really what we're looking at here: fundamental, technical, psychology, and risk management.
So one eye on the news and one eye on the charts and one eye on the emotions and your way.
Exactly, we got three eyes there, but I know what you mean. But the other, my colleague Asanka will be talking about combining technical and fundamental analysis. So that's exactly that. So that's what we do all the time. We have a sort of overview of the news and the general direction and the general trend. So the last few months we've had a very strong dollar, we've had weak stock markets, we've had weak cryptocurrencies, etc. So there's been a sort of a fundamental trend direction, and then you use the technical analysis to try and time entry and exit into the market to try and catch the best moves in the direction generally of the major trend.
So one of the questions that we frequently get is how do you choose a broker? There are many brokers out there. Some say that trading is free. Is there such a thing as a free broker, and how do you go about choosing your broker?
Yeah, well, they're not free. I mean, they have to make their business, so they will charge a small commission, but it's generally built into the spread. So that's basically you have a two-way price, which is the bid and the ask. So we have a buying price and a selling price, and we have to pay a little bit more when we buy and we sell a little bit cheaper. But it's normally a tiny fraction, particularly in the most liquid markets. It's very, very cheap. So you could buy theoretically, well, actually, 100,000 euros against the dollar, you could buy that for maybe £5. Well, that would be the total commission that you'd have to pay to the broker. So it can be done very cheaply, which means that it's possible to trade, if you wanted to, many times a day and not rack up loads of commissions. So from that perspective, yeah, there are brokers that charge more. There are brokers that are better, brokers that are worse. There are lots of brokers. As a general rule, what I would say is you should go for a broker that's been established at least 10 years, if not 20 or 30 or more. Secondly, you would go for one that is FCA regulated, so it's regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, or possibly there's a ASA, or well, there's some letters, but it's the Australian regulators. They're also pretty good. There are a lot of brokers that are regulated in Cyprus, which is a little easier to get regulated in Cyprus. So I wouldn't particularly recommend those brokers unless potentially there are a couple of brokers, regulated in Cyprus that are a part of a much bigger, FTSE 250 company, whatever. So they're part of a bigger group. I think that's not so bad. But yeah, you don't want a broker that's just popped up 6 months ago and regulated in Cyprus. I would not give them any of my money.
Perfect.
And in fact, all the brokers that will be taking part in the show at the IX Investor Show, they are all regulated in the UK. So that's something I stand by as well, because it's quite bewildering nowadays. Well, I mean, you can trade shares even off your Revolut account now. It's the Revoluts, the neo banks, as they're called, neo brokers. It's very simple, but yes, I mean, I agree 100% with everything that Paddy said, and also just to check that the broker that you're working with actually gives you access to all the stocks that you might want to trade, or the markets that you might want to trade. There's a lot of liquidity in the US stock market, so a lot of the people that we work with want to be able to access all the stocks there. But most of the good brokers, again, the ones that are established, will give you a very wide selection of all these things. So they also have the guarantee of the financial services protection scheme. So if the worst does happen and a broker was to go insolvent, then I think it's up to
85,000.
85 now, is it? Yeah, of your money is protected. You would get it back. So.
Oh, this brings me to my last question, actually, for Simon. I understand there are some free tickets to be had for the Investor and Trader Show. How would somebody go about claiming those tickets?
Well, they would go, but just by going straight to the website now, it's an early bird ticket offer. The entry is £25 for the tickets, but if you go to the website now, you can claim early bird reservation. So the website address is ixinvestorshow.com. You can also go to ixtradershow.com. It'll take you to the same website. Not only will you see the registration button there at ixinvestorshow.com, but you'll also see all the schedules of the talks taking place. There's 3 theatres on the day. We've got an exhibitor hall, we've got a traders theatre where there's going to be panel talks, tutorials, and trading demonstrations. There's a showcase theatre where we're having shorter 30-minute seminars. Some of the speakers are fantastic as well. Not only, of course, Paddy Osborn, but people like Tom Hugard, Alpesh Patel, OBE, Charlie Burton, Sunil Mangwani, Adam Harris. In total, we'll have, I think there'll be about 30 speakers taking part in total. They all have one thing in common. They all do trade their own account. Many of them offer education as well, or they manage a fund, but they very much come from a retail background. So they understand what it's like being a retail investor, a retail trader. You haven't come straight out of bank and know all about the economy. They know what it's like to come from a different career. And I think that's what makes the show so valuable for people. So yes, so early bird tickets at ixinvestor.com, or you can search the social media, the ix Investor Show on the Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and things. It's Friday the 25th of November, the Grand Connaught Rooms in London.
Excellent. And the same question for Paddy, for people who are interested to find out more about the London Academy of Trading, where would they find out the information?
Okay, yeah, we have a fairly strange email address, which is lat.london. So just type that one in and you'll come straight to our website, and there you can see all the different courses that we offer. We keep it fairly simple. In terms of our trading courses, we have 3. We have a 1-week introduction to financial markets and trading. We've got a 1-month trading skills course, which goes into a little bit more depth into all of these things I talked about, the fundamentals, technical psychology, and risk management. And then we have a flagship course, which is the most popular by far, which is a 12-week advanced course, and that leads to a level 5 diploma in applied financial trading, which is a regulated and accredited qualification. So it's regulated by Ofqual, accredited by ABE, and so we are the exclusive provider of that particular qualification. Yeah, so basically lat.london, and it's all in there. We do some specialist courses as well in psychology and cryptocurrency trading and fine art investments and all sorts of different things. But they're generally, most people will start on a trading course, the 1, 4, 12-week course, and then they may go on to do something more specialist in psychology or, as I say, cryptocurrency or options or whatever it might be.
I want to thank you both ever so much for coming on today, both Simon and Paddy. It sounds very, very interesting. We're hoping to see you at the Trading Investor Show and finding out more about the courses that are on offer and generally more information. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Armchair Trader podcast. Make sure you visit our website, www.thearmchairtrader.com, for your daily dose of financial markets news and sign up to our free newsletter there.